for keeping me for today and forever.
And I thank you, Lord, for keeping me from I was just a teeny tiny boy, even until today. Because, Lord, I remember some tough days when I was just standing there looking at the phone, but no one calls anymore. My life was feeling empty, and I was alone. And the people that I saw only gave distant smiles, sadness and shame. I took the blame. But see, I found a lover that's true, and he made all things new. And now I'm so glad he's holding my hand, 'cause he knows my name, all my hurt and my pain. Every time that I sigh, every tear that I cry, and he made a way through every hard time to turn my dark days back to a smile. Yes, he knows my name. Sing it with me now. See, he knows my name, all my hurt and my pain. Every time that I sigh, every tear that I cry, and he made a way through every hard time to turn my dark days back to a smile. Yes, he knows my name. Oh, it's me again, Lord, it's me again. It's been a long, long time, but I'm coming back. Yes, I'm coming back. Lord, I'm coming back to you. Yeah, see, I've heard people say that you wouldn't come my way, but now I'm wrapped tight in your arms. I wonder what would they say. So I'm gonna sing and shout. I've got to let this secret out of how you saved me and set me free. 'Cause you know my name, all my hurt and my pain. Every time that I sigh, every tear that I cry, and he made a way through every hard time to turn my dark days back to a smile. Yes, he knows my name. Let's sing it now. See, he knows my name, all my hurt and my pain. Every time that I sigh, every tear that I cry, and he made a way through every hard time to turn my dark days back to a smile. Yes, he knows my name.
Thank you, Jesus, for loving me and being my friend. Amen.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live session. This evening, we are being joined by an outstanding Jamaican. I want for you to stay tuned and make sure that you join in on this session. Go ahead, guys, and click on that share button as we're going to be having an interesting conversation this evening. You certainly want to know about this fine gentleman who's going to be joining me in just a moment. everybody go ahead, click on that share button. We're going to build an audience because I'm not going to bring anybody on this screen just yet until we have an audience. So go ahead, guys, and make sure that you click on the share button. I need to hear from you also. Make sure that you put in the chat where you're checking in from. And if you have read any of his books, and you will learn more about him later on, make sure that you say that you have done so. So come on, everybody, leave something in the chat. So while we're waiting for our guests to join us, guys, I am sure that you're all excited. Over the past couple weeks, a lot of persons probably were at the point of getting heart attack. Their blood pressure went up and all sorts of things may have happened to them. But today, of course, I know that many people are celebrating because their team or their big side would have won. So shout out and congratulations to the Argentina team on winning the World Cup 2022. So congratulations to them. And of course, to all those persons who are supporters, congratulations to you. I know that some of you are bandwagonists or you are whatever you may want to call it. You're always transferring your loyalty of one team from one place to the other. But of course, it's just a game, guys. So make sure that you enjoy it and have fun. Make sure that you encourage the younger children also to play football because it's certainly a game that can help them to build great skills. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be bringing on screen right now an emerging author from Jamaica. And of course, many persons would have seen him as a radical writer and one who writes about critical issues. His books, or the topics for his books, are what we consider to be ultra proactive. And we're going to be discussing that a little bit more later on. Please help me welcome at this time the renowned, the outstanding author, Jamaican, Mr. Roger O. Williams, as he joins us. Mr. Williams, welcome. How are you doing today?
Give thanks for that wonderful intro, and thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. It's my absolute pleasure to have you here. And we're just going to be talking this evening. You're going to be telling me about the outstanding work that you have been doing as a writer, as you have also done some work in production. You recently produced a short film on an issue that is greatly stigmatized and tabooed in our society. And we're going to be talking about that today. So welcome to the Tamara Hiltons Live. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Mr. Williams, I want for you to tell me a little bit about you. So I am sure maybe a lot of persons who would be watching this live, they would be seeing you or hearing about you maybe for the first time. I'm sure some persons do know who you are because I came across you on social media and there were some things that actually grabbed my attention. But before we talk anything more, who is Roger O. Williams?
Roger O. Williams is from Porous, Manchester, out of Jamaica. I actually grew up in two communities, Mile Gully. My mom moved there when I was 1 year old, and I came back to Porous when I was in grade 2, around 5, 6. So, I'm a country boy. I'm not in the city. The only time I have been to the city was on bus trips. So I'm a real down-to-earth country boy, who grew up around a lot of animals. And, went to school barefoot at times, without lunch.
Wow.
Yes, and without shoes and stuff like that. So I growing up in Jamaica, in rural Jamaica, which helped me to be a better writer, impactful writer that I am today. I think it's my upbringing in Jamaica, that hard life, that way your mama taught you that if you don't have anything, don't watch what other people have, don't watch their what they're eating or their money. Just come home and eat what you have, and if it is one dumpling or a slice of bread, give God thanks and go back to school. So that is the upbringing that I have, a humble upbringing and in a Christian home, but at the same time I grew up around a lot of elderly Rastafarians and around a lot of older people who taught me wisdom, and I was like a sponge, and I soaked up all the wisdom from the elderly people You know, I was brightest in class. Maths always be my problematic subject. But I used to could comprehend when I read something and when the older person is talking. I remember one day I was in grade 4 and the teacher brought a group of parables, old-time colloquial adages in class, and she reached one that said, every house has its dirty corner. What does that mean? And I can tell you that not even the brightest child, who so bright that when teacher gave us worksheets, who went up there in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, no one could interpret. And I got everybody have them own bad ways. Yes. Wow. So if I wasn't good in the regular class and stuff, I still have a little street smart because I grew up around and nobody could interpret that. Nobody could interpret colloquial adage. So growing up, I kind of have that level of street smart coming up, especially growing up around elderly Rastafarians. And my lifestyle and the wisdom from the elderly in the village, you can see it in my books. Every one of my books.
Wow. Wow.
And story as well, even in the short film. So that's animal lover too. I'm an animal lover from I was a boy growing up in Jamaica.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Williams. So you mentioned that you grew up in the rural area of Jamaica. And of course, we know what it's like because I think most Jamaicans understand what country life is all about. However, what was it about growing up in the country? And you mentioned your experience, being the only student at that time to say what the proverb meant. How did that impact on your writing skills?
Well, as I said, I grew up around elderly Rastafarians, and whatever my mom taught me, grew up in when I was a kid, I used to have like a bronchial problem, and my mother used to say, you're gonna play out in the rain again, It's not the first time leaf dropping upon the leaf rots and stuff like that. Even if she's spanking you, it's a colloquial adage like all who can hear will heal. So I implement these kind of teachings from the elderly Rastafarians, from the older people in the village, and I incorporate it in whether it's a figurative way or a kind of literal sense. In my book, Only Animals Allowed in Heaven, there's a Rasta drunker in it.
Wow.
And one of the powerful lines is that he says, he who goes to sleep with rotten meat shall rise with maggots.
Wow.
So that is a very impactful, that's a very that's strong dialogue for that and Turkey Vulture, aka Drunker, to say. And I that is something that I made up that one, It's something that it surrounds me growing up and hearing from the elderly. So I realized that I don't want to be like the regular author. I want to be me because I believe in writing is your voice and you have to be you, especially when you're telling a very realistic story. I don't write about magical creatures and magic wand and stuff like that. No offense to anybody who writes that. I love fantasy. I love Batman and stuff, but I am a writer who writes on provocative topics. So I pull from my experience growing up and from what I've learned, not just from my mom, my stepfather. I learned from the neighbors, the elderly. As I said, as a child, I was from older people because I learned that the things that I learned around the older people, I don't learn it when I was playing ring ding and a thing there and that candy and stuff like that and marbles. Different level of education when you're amongst older people. And nowadays.
Well, thank you, Mr. Williams, for that, because I'm realizing now how important, and what we're seeing now is a generational gap. So the elderly, they're doing their own thing, and the young people, they're in a world by themselves. But clearly, back in the days when you were growing up, the elderly, they played an important role in mentoring and guiding the young children. And, as you said, providing those important adages to them to help them to understand, this is life. So they didn't just tell you, don't do what the things that's wrong. They would always use, an experience or a saying or something like that so that you can understand better what you need to do and what you should not be doing. All right. So You mentioned that you grew up with animals, and I know that you have written about animals. You're considered to be an animal rights activist.
Yeah.
Tell us your experience of what it was like growing up in the country, and what animals did you have growing up?
Well, it's strange because my mother never have one animal. The only thing we could call ourselves is the ants that sometimes run on the boathouse.
Wow.
We could call them that, but we have birds flying because we have a gate or a fence. Wild animals would come in, stray dogs, and I used to feed. The dogs, and sometimes, I would go underneath a little orange tree and I'm eating my food, and I would leave some for them. Sometimes I really see the dog eyes and say, you're not give me the bone. You're not done with that chicken bone yet. Throw it, no. Because we have like 5, 6, 7 dogs around me waiting in the to feed animals. And the love for animals, I think I developed that myself.
Right.
Out of not to hurt animals, and that love for animals, I developed. I used to love to read a book called The Book of Bible Story and stuff like that, the Bible biblical story, and what you learn in Sunday schools too.
Right.
That helped me. And then I grew up seeing animal abuse. When I was 4 years old, somebody poisoned my pet pig. It was really my sister's pig, but that pig was like my best friend.
Right.
And when I formed a bond with that little pig. His name was Sunday. My mom bought him on a Sunday, and his name was Sunday. And I used to go to the back of the house and play with Sunday as a kid. And that relationship between, because a lot of what I'm showing in my animal books too, especially I'll turn back door, is the importance of animal and human friendship.
Right.
And to come back what you said, how my life motivates my writing, that relationship with me and my pet pig, I incorporate that between the disabled boy and his dog in Turnback Blow to show the importance of animal and human friendship. Because if you can sometimes bonding with an animal, especially a dog, can be stronger than bonding with a human being.
Absolutely.
And I learned that as a child. Come up.
Yes.
Even the fowl them, I'm a friend. I used to talk to the animals them. So Jamaica, especially in rural Jamaica, that exposed me to a lot of animals, and that compassion for animals, I think, growing up in Jamaica, and it was a very good thing for me.
Wow. All right. So guys, if you're just joining us, please make sure that you go ahead, drop a note in the chat. This evening, I'm talking with Roger O. Williams. He's a Jamaican. He is an author, a veteran, and an actor. He's also an animal rights activist. And you certainly want to hear his story about his journey being an author, how he became an animal rights activist. Now, clearly, Mr. Williams, we have seen, just how pervasive animal cruelty is in Jamaica.
Yes.
Do you think that the books that you have written has somehow brought about some more awareness towards the importance of caring for our animals, especially our dogs? Because I believe more than any other animals, we're so cruel, to the dogs. What do we call them? I'm not even sure of the correct name. I think we call them pot cakes here, but in Jamaica we say mongrel and all of that. I don't think that's the correct name for them. But at the end of the day, do you think that your writing, your books, would have brought some awareness to the importance of taking care of our animals?
Yes, a very good question. Yes, my first book, Turnback Blow, was released in 2013. That is a book that its main theme is animal cruelty, which makes me the first Jamaican author, and if you look at it, the first Caribbean author to address the issue of animal cruelty. And when that book released, it was like a novelty, no pun intended, because no one has ever done it, to sit down 2 years to write a book to show your fellow Jamaicans that animals have feelings too, and that animal cruelty is wrong. Because prior to Turnback Blow, animal cruelty was seen in Jamaica as inconsequential. No one cared, other than the regular animal shelter people, them and rescues, and no one in the general public. And I think that's why Turnback Blow, it stands out so much, because it's not the norm to see a regular Jamaican not in the animal community talk about the love for animals, especially a man.
Right.
It's trying and to answer your question, yes, Turn Back Blow has started a dialogue. It has opened many of my fellow Jamaican people's eyes to the issue of animal cruelty. This will educate politicians to let them know that it is their responsibility to pass laws, to make an amendment to laws, to educate programs, to educate the people that animal cruelty is wrong. And that I have people all over the world, from Jerusalem, Israel, Australia, the Philippines, Netherlands, Switzerland, Croatia, who supported this. And the Jamaican government, I know they watched the Turn Back Blow's page and they see the impact. I mean, this is a book that caused people to overseas to get in touch with the Jamaica tourist ministry and said, look, we're not coming again until you guys do something about the animal cruelty in Jamaica. They even write letters to the editor and said, yes. Blow. And if the Jamaican government does not do anything about animal cruelty, it can the Jamaican tourism, because most tourists who come visit Jamaica are animal lovers. So it's just a powerful and important book.
Yes.
I've done it without help. I took on it single-handedly. Because in Jamaica, I live in a country. Jamaica is a place that deals with classism.
Yes.
And it's not what is done. It's who does it. You know. And then I've never been to a high school. So to have this little guy who has never been to a high school, who is you to educate us about animal cruelty.
Wow.
It would have gone in that direction if I had a degree or PhD. So that is classism in itself. But I stand up, I stood up to the not getting the support that the book should be getting from the bigger head. And I fought for the animals, because animals cannot speak for themselves. But the book is the voice for the animals. I'm very pleased of it. And the book was cataloged by Yale, Princeton, Harvard.
Wow. That's awesome. Congratulations on that, Mr. Williams. That's awesome.
Oxford University catalog in there. So very, very, very proud of that book.
Wow. Thank you, Roger. So where I live here in Turks and Caicos, Grand Turk, we have a lot of donkeys. Just like how when you go to Jamaica and you see the dogs running wild, that's how we have the donkeys running wild. And guess what? They actually have a law here that these donkeys are protected. The island is actually considered to be a donkey oasis. So you can't hurt any of those donkeys. And I really hope that your book will actually get to that point, or based on the message that you're sending through your writing, where in Jamaica, our animals will get that level of protection. As you said, they do not have a voice. Therefore, through your book, you have been speaking on their behalf.
Yeah, and let me say this, that there's someone on my Facebook page whose dog was poisoned in Jamaica this week. Her dog is called Pepsi, and she sent me a picture with the dog in the bush, swelled up with poison. So I'm saying to that person in Manchester, if they're watching this interview, karma will get you, because it is very cruel to poison an animal who cannot speak. I think
an innocent animal, yes.
You can just imagine, it's one of the most horrific ways to die, and to look on an innocent dog and poison that dog. And she said it's not only her dog got poisoned that time, other neighbor's dog got poisoned too. So I'm saying that animal abusers in Jamaica need to stop.
Yes.
It's a thing called karma, and God doesn't like people who abuses animals. And they're dealing who poisoned Pepsi. It's cruel.
Absolutely.
This is because the Jamaican government hasn't taken the matter seriously the way they're supposed to take it. There needs to be stiffer penalty for animal abuse. Animal rights of Jamaica, it's outdated. There needs to be amendment to that. The laws need to be updated. The laws need to be enforced. And that's what I'm dedicated in my life to do, to make sure that the laws of the animal laws of Jamaica there's an amendment to it, and that the government take serious
Yes.
take it seriously that animal cruelty needs to stop and to put in programs to educate the people, because what I have done with my book is what they should have been doing,
Yes.
educating the people.
Absolutely. And you know what, Mr. Williams, as you have mentioned that in Jamaica, I mean, there's so much crime and violence, and clearly the root cause of crime and violence is that we have so many children who did not learn how to love. They did not learn how to care for animals or just, be loving and kind, right? And I believe that they can look at doing animal therapy, using animals to help these men that's committing the crime to really, be in touch with their emotions. I had a cat some time ago, unfortunately he went outside and I don't know what happened. He went missing for a couple of days and he died. And when I tell you that we cried, my son and I, we cried so hard for our cat Mando. And the cat was so therapeutic. Just having the cat in the house,
Yes.
it was therapy. And that's something, as you said, along with amending the laws or putting the laws in place, they could look at also using animal therapy to help some of these young people. Because if they have the animals caring for, then that will help them to put their attention into caring for the animal. And I'm sure it will help them in some way. So maybe that's another thing you need to look at also, animal therapy.
But you see, it's a very, I like what you said, because in my latest book, Only Animals Allowed in Heaven, there's a character that said, if you look on the Jamaican murder rate, sure a lot of people started out by hurting animals. And the book points out to say that if you teach children to show compassion to animals from a tender age, and are more likely, not inevitably, but more likely they will grow up showing love to their fellow humans.
Absolutely.
So that's so in every way in every book I try to squeeze in a little animal love and that's what that's one of the messages of Only Animals Allowed in Heaven point out, geared towards the government, people who have the power to make a difference.
Yes, absolutely. So we're saying, guys, end animal cruelty in Jamaica, not only cruelty to animals, but we're looking also at ending cruelty to our fellow man. And so you have not only written about animals, but you have a powerful book also. And I believe that was a book that caught my attention.
Which one?
Murder for Sale.
Oh, yes.
A book that I started reading it just last week, and it literally had me on the edge of my mattress, at the edge of my bed, and I was like, wow. You are really a great writer, Mr. Williams. I have to say that. So tell me about what made you write about Murder for Sale.
Look at the crime rate. Murder for Sale was I did a 1-year screenwriting course at the New York Film Academy, and that it was a screenplay that I wrote. It had a different name. It had a name called Grievance, and I wrote Grievance in my first semester. And when I was going to my second semester, my second year, we had a class called Revision, and I chose to revise Grievance, and I renamed it Murder for Sale. So in 2016, I realized, I was saying to myself, because my idea comes from just holding a meditation and just looking into myself and looking at what's going on in the world, what I can write to help my fellow human beings. And I was like, what, this world is full of, the Jamaican murder rate is high. And a lot of them is contract killing. So I asked myself, what makes a person kill?
Wow.
What makes a person take on a hitman job? What makes you decide to take money to kill another human being? Because sometimes when a horrific murder is committed by whether one or two people, we ask ourselves, we only see the pain from the victims. So me now who likes to think outside the box, I was like, why don't we think from the killer's perspective?
Wow.
What makes a man kill? And I said, what if I put a character in a position where he gets an offer to kill someone, but he doesn't want to do the job. But if he does not do the job, someone die.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna. So I decided to write the story about to go back to murder for sale, to grievance.
Right.
And it's a story about this boy, 25-year-old boy, young man, I should say, who lives with his sick grandmother in one of the
Right.
volatile inner city community in Kingston. She's gravely ill, and but the thing is, Troy is his name. He kills people at night. But what makes him kill? You have to read the story and it's not innocent people he's killing. It's like vigilante, but what makes this person kill? And then the era done of the era said, his grandmother took sick. Troy's grandmother took worse and needed like a lot of money for operation.
Right.
And then they have no money. And then the era done, pull him over and said, hey, I hear about your grandmother. She's gonna die, but I can pay for the surgery, but for me. And Troy was like, what? Kill my number one enemy, a cop. I said, no, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. He's sick right now, and if you kill a police in Jamaica, police is all over you. But it goes on to say that with time running out on his grandmother's life, forced to make a decision that's going to change forever. Oh man, people, even Christians, they said this book is like a movie.
Yes.
It's high concept.
Yes, I mean, and you saying that now, I think you probably need to look at approaching Netflix, because I think Murder for Sale is definitely a movie that we want to see coming out of Jamaica.
Yes,
we definitely need to see that coming out.
Yes, yeah, it's a very so it's also showing you that there's things that people do that they do not want to do.
Yes,
in life, a lot of people out there, to be honest, you have single mothers out there are doing things to put food on the table for their children, and they do not want to do it.
I know. I understand that quite well.
And this is young man is forced to kill I have a choice to kill a cop to save his grandmother's life, or let his grandmother die and save a cop. So it's like, Murder for Sale is the book. I was told by someone that top politicians in Jamaica read the book and they're not fond of me because it's showing up a lot of things that going on in Jamaica.
Ooh, Mr. Williams.
Yes, it's very provocative.
It's sad, because I was just about to ask you without telling us, the details, because we want people to go and buy these books and read them. But, in a nutshell, what do you think are some of those factors that's really influencing crime and violence in Jamaica?
All right. As I showed the book, in the book, it says this book, when you open the book, the author knows that this book wasn't written to incite violence against the police or anyone. Shows the youth of today, troubled youth of today, that violence is not the answer, especially those in gun violence. Jamaica has a huge problem, a resolution problem. The first thing to resolve an issue in Jamaica is violence.
Wow.
So the book is geared towards showing young men, troubled men like Troy, because Troy's a very troubled man. If you read the book, that's a messed up path. So young people can read that book and say, "Oh, should I go the route that Troy goes? Should I do this to solve my issue?" And they ignore the book. And right now, even get the Jamaican Prime Minister and everybody thinking about ways now to educate people on not using violence to solve their issue. That is what that leads up, that contributes to the high murder rate. In addition to the book's main theme, contract killing. Because when the book was released in 2016, December, I think, there weren't so many contract hits. Right now in Jamaica, from reading the news, there's a lot of hits going on.
Wow.
Police read Murder for Sale. They zoom on the book because they thought I was inciting violence against the police. So a lot of police, I have friends in police, they zoom it on. So when they read the book, they realized, no, this is a good book.
Right.
So they told me that it needs to go into the Jamaica Prison Library. But the Jamaica Correctional Service, they read the book and said, no, they refused the book.
Ooh. So they did not take it?
No. Even though the police said Murder for Sale needs to be in the Jamaican prison libraries,
they
said no. They no. At the same time, they're saying it's echoing what's going on in society.
Yeah. So you're shedding a lot of light on what
Yes.
is happening in the society.
The book
And
is
it's the
showing that.
reality. And as usual, people are afraid to accept the reality because they do not want to be responsible and accountable for what is happening there.
Yes. You know, the book is, and without saying, want to give away the story, the book is showing you that the guns is coming through the wharf.
Mm,
You know, the guns are coming from the US.
right.
The book is so it's showing up a lot of stuff that poverty at some point,
Yes.
contributes to crime and stuff like that. You know, I think not big aspect, but it also plays a role.
Yes.
You know, and the mentality of some people, you know, and the stigmatization of living in certain areas.
Yes.
The truth.
Wow. Wow.
The book is so powerful. Let me tell you how Murder for Sale is so powerful. The book does not say Jamaica Constabulary Force, which is the police department in Jamaica. The book says the National Authority, the National Police Authority, and police still takes the book personal. That is how effective the book is. Yes, so we just have to just keep on, writing good stories like Murder for Sale, keep on writing good stories like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Mr. Williams, we are looking at the books that you have written, and I do not want to go to that short film just yet. I want for you to tell us about that other book, that love story that you have written about.
Oh, Love Will Survive.
Yes.
Love Will Survive is a story about a poor one-legged Rastafarian boy who meets this white Catholic girl, a missionary, and they fall for each other. But his father, who is a die-hearted Rastafarian, who brings him back to Africa and stuff, doesn't like the fact that he falls for this white girl, and the white girl Catholic dad does not like that she's talking to she's in love with poor Rastafarian boy.
Right.
You know, when I told a friend about the book, he said, a Rastafarian and a Catholic, that's island water, they don't mix.
None at all.
Yeah, so it's a high concept, and it's also the first love story to set in the 1980 government election. That's a bloody election. So it's a love story that sets within that time frame. So the war and the bloodshed is also an antagonist and a hurdle to their journey.
Right.
It's also showing that sometimes religion, no offense to anyone who's religious, I'm religious, but sometimes religion can come between love.
Yes.
That's a topic that people want.
But wouldn't that make you incompatible with the person that you love, though? How do you bridge that gap and that incompatibility? Because I believe religion, and that's a very, a strong way of life. And when persons are committed to what they believe in terms of their religion, that can really become an issue in the relationship later on.
Yeah, but from my experience and observation in life, religion is one of the biggest division. Even though I'm religious, I believe in Christianity, but calling a spade, it divides people. It's not much different than politics. Because there's a huge gap between these cultures, Rastafarian and the Catholics.
Christianity, yes.
Should they let the religion, because religion comes with expectation. So I'm a Rasta, you're supposed to be a Rasta. I'm a Catholic, grew up in the Catholic, you're supposed to be with someone in the Catholic. You're supposed to be in the Jehovah's Witness. You're supposed to be Why can't I, if I'm a Christian, meet a woman who's Muslim or so and love her?
That doesn't work in this world, Mr. Williams.
I'm just saying, I know.
It should, but it shouldn't be. But at the end of the day, religion, as you said, it's really a divider when it comes on to our society, and it happens.
Exactly. And the book is also showing that love is stronger than hate.
Yes, absolutely. Love will always win.
And a lot of people in society, they preach love, they preach hate inadvertently.
Yes.
Because you're telling me that I'm a Rasta or I'm a Catholic and I can't be that person because of my religious belief, you're preaching hate.
Yes.
So the book is showing that love is stronger than hate. How these two people,
Mhm.
how they gonna bridge, how they gonna come, how they gonna come together, how they
Right.
navigate this religious
Mhm.
barrier.
Mhm. Mm.
You know, the other provocative thing of the story is that he's a poor, one-legged
Yeah.
Rastafarian boy.
Yes.
No girl in
How
Jamaica,
does that work?
no girl in, especially hot girl in Jamaica, want a 1-foot man who push and shot. I dare to tell me, said somebody, that that's true. A matter of fact,
Not these girls nowadays. I can tell you that they definitely will
as you
never
meet
even look his way.
as you meet somebody nowadays, the first question they ask is, "What kind of work do you do?" So what does this white girl, this Catholic girl, see in this poor one-legged Rastafarian
Right.
that she admires? And what
Mhm.
about this girl that he sees, that he likes, that he
Mhm.
grows up
Mhm.
hearing not to love the white man?
Right.
It's a
Mm.
very provocative story, and that is how I write everything. And by the way, Evil Love Will Survive has an
Mhm.
animal loving story, a little animal loving. Every book that I write, I squeeze in a little animal loving story to show
Right.
that they're loved.
Mhm.
So if when you read Love Will Survive too, you'll see
Mhm.
animal loving story that I incorporate. That's a little piece because I love to squeeze in something for my furry friends.
Right.
But
Right.
it's a very powerful story and
Mhm.
provocative, very provocative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Mr. Williams, based on what we have been discussing so far, and let me just take a moment to send a shout out to all those persons who have been visiting the page. So we're seeing, and I think there's something that I need to block off my page just now. So Mr. Errol Campbell, he just left a message there for you. He says that you're passionate, you're consistent, and you are, let me see, as you are at your craft. Yeah. So he's pretty much saying that, listen, you are a passionate, you're a consistent writer, and that is indeed really a good commendation there also. Lamar, good evening. Hey, Simone, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here. Okay, so let me block.
Give thanks to that person.
Right. I have to. Okay, good. I did the blocking. Very good. All right. Hey, Simone. Hey, Anne. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Guys, if you're just joining, I'm just going to ask you, please, to make sure that you go ahead and click on the share button. Make sure you tag a friend. We have been having a quite interesting conversation here with Roger O. Williams. He's a Jamaican. He is an author, a veteran. He's an actor, and he's also an animal rights activist. And he's been writing about those topics that we consider to be tabooed, right? We're looking at writing about animals and animal cruelty, loving somebody that's not even in the same class or has the same religion as you do. We also looked at, what else did we look at there, Mr. Williams? We looked
Contract killing.
also
Yeah, contract killing.
contract killing, yes. And you mentioned about your book also being in different places, Yale and Harvard and so on. And of course, it's been quite far reaching, and I have to say congratulations to you on that. I want to ask you now, Mr. Williams, what has been your motivation to write about these tabooed topics?
It's not okay. I grew up poor, and I always, as a kid, I always look on something bigger than how other kids are looking. I normally process things. I grew up seeing political manipulation where the MP doesn't come around until until Christmas or voting time to get political mileage. I normally see things like nepotism. You go to the clinic and you're in line first, and because somebody in the village have a higher status than you, the nurse or somebody who's working at that clinic push that person up in line. So I'm exposed to favoritism, nepotism, classism. So I've been affected by these things growing up. I wouldn't say affected is a strong term, but I've experienced it. So I grew up not loving these stuff, not appreciating how society would treat me and my fellow people in the lower class of society. So in order to raise awareness of certain issues, I decided to write my books and incorporate these kinds of social issues in the book to raise awareness to people like politicians who have the power to make a difference in poor people's lives, just as how they have the power to make the difference in animals' lives. So I love to educate while entertain simultaneously.
Oh, education and entertainment, right? Yes. And you've certainly been able to accomplish that through your writing. And as we speak about education, it was December 1st that we celebrated World HIV/AIDS Day. And you have released a short film. Yes. Let's Show Them Love.
Yes.
I want to talk about that a little bit, Mr. Williams, but I want to show the clip. Do you prefer if I show the clip?
Yes,
and
sure.
Then we talk? All right. So we're going to just stay tuned, everybody. We're going to share with you a clip from the Let's Show Them Love, a short film that was produced by Mr. Williams.
That's a beautiful love.
I wanted to show the book also. So let's show the book and then.
Yeah.
All right, so all these books, guys, they're available on Amazon. And in a moment, we're going to be sharing the Amazon link with you and also sharing Roger's YouTube, Facebook, and different links because we want for you to make sure that you go over and follow his page. Coming up right now, Let's Show Them Love.
True, Miss Doris talking. She sell food and Miss Super is right here. We can't have a person with HIV around here.
True. Relax, Sophie. The item cannot catch HIV by touching what Billy touched. The item cannot get infected that way. Whether it is HIV or full-blown AIDS him have.
Hold on, Dingy.
How you mean we can't catch it by touching where him touch? Suppose we allow him to play domino with we. You want to tell me that we can't catch the HIV virus by touching the domino them where him touch?
Good question, Nala.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. We see that in Jamaica, a number of persons are still being stigmatized because they are suffering or they have been infected with HIV/AIDS. Statistics currently are showing that there are over 27,000 Jamaicans suffering from HIV/AIDS in 2022. Why is it that after over 40 years of this disease coming on the scene, persons are still being stigmatized? This is still a taboo topic. People are still being discriminated against because they are suffering from HIV/AIDS. Mr. Williams, Roger, what influenced you creating and producing this film?
Okay, as I said, I wrote that. I wrote the screenplay. It's my first produced screenplay, not the first screenplay that I wrote, but the first produced screenplay. This screenplay was just one scene that I wrote while I was living in Kingston when I was at a spot and we were playing dominoes and stuff like that. And, 6 Love dropped and the person who lost, they got up and then I sat down. No, the person who had AIDS sat down and nobody wanted to sit. So I was like, this is not right. Not because the guy, has AIDS. That's what I'm thinking to myself. Not because the guy has AIDS means that we can play domino. And
right.
is calling him. So I'm gonna write a scene. So I wrote a scene
Right.
around the situation with my imagination, and I shop it to the Minister of Health in Jamaica, and the Minister of Health turned it down.
Ooh.
They said, "Oh, we like it, but we're not going that route." So fast forward, I sent the screenplay to Geneva. I think it's UNAIDS in Switzerland, and they like it. They said, "Sorry," they said, "Don't say we endorse it, but we don't see anything wrong with it. You know, we don't know we would turn this down."
Right.
Fast forward to about last year, I was in Jamaica on vacation, and I came across a little situation where somebody, a grown man, chased a little boy from the shop corner and said, "Move from here, your mama have AIDS."
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
"It is here."
It is still there, very much active.
And I said, "Roger, but you had that screenplay that the Minister of Health turned down since 2008. So when I came back January morning, I just wrote, add more scenes, add characters to the main, add stuff, and I shop it to the AIDS organization in Jamaica. They didn't answer.
Wow.
And a friend of mine, you know, he said, "Roger, make it yourself." He said, "Roger, you make it. Band your belly and make it." I said,
Make it.
$6,000 budget. How, you know? And I said, "You know what?" He said, "Roger, make it." So I took his advice and I produced it myself.
Wow.
I went to Jamaica because I'm a trained actor. I trained at the New York Film Academy. I trained at the Lee Strasberg and Theatre. I'm a method actor too. So I went there and we gathered people from within the community.
Right.
And I trained them in screen acting, and you know, and it came out well. People were like, "Some of these people have never acted before. They acted real well."
Wow. Wow.
So, what I have done with Let's Show Them Love is like a social intervention program because I use my money and educate people. This is something that the councillors, the MP, the minister of the government should be putting programs to educate the public. I did it with my own money and time without no help. And until this day, people have to ask him, why would you have a powerful film like this on YouTube? A community came together to make such impactful film, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Jamaica have not acknowledged the film or reached out to you.
Even up to this point,
no,
they have not acknowledged it. They have, and even with the fact that you were featured in the Jamaica Gleaner, nothing up to this point.
I did see them at Sunrise in Kingston. But let me tell you something. You see, Jamaica, let me tell you something. You see, Jamaica, influential Jamaicans like the government and organization, they do not do anything if something is not in it for them.
Yes, and I agree with you 100%.
They're not getting money to where they can dip their hand in the cookie jar. They don't want to do it because they're getting funding. They're getting funding from SDCR towards this.
Yes,
and you know what? Let me tell you something. Don't buy this thing about organization. It's all about donation. When you do something that's in line with what their values, like AIDS or animal cruelty, and you think they will support you, they do not want to do it because they see what you're doing as a competition, because they do not want their donors to know about you, because they survive from donors, from donated money. So they do not want anybody to learn about Let's Show Them Love. Their donors is going to know about it. That's how Jamaica is. And the other thing about Jamaica, they do not want to support something if they did not initialize it or conceptualize it. Because if they did not conceptualize it, they're not going to get the glory. They want the glory, the praise. So they don't want to support you.
So what we want to use this platform to do, though, Mr. Williams, is to really bring that awareness. And I hope that there is somebody here on this platform, or somebody will see this live at some point in time, and they will, be in a place of influence where they can say, listen, there is a gentleman by the name of Roger O. Williams. He recently produced a film, Let's Show Them Love. It's bringing awareness to HIV/AIDS, and it can be used to whether it's going to eliminate the spread of AIDS in Jamaica, to remove the taboo from it, and they will seek to use their place of influence to put this film in a place where all of Jamaica, The whole world can buy into this project. And of course, you will see some returns on the work that you have done.
Thank you. And Tamara, I must point out that this film also addressed mental health.
Yes.
Because
yes.
the guy has AIDS, he locked up in his room, he doesn't know what to do. And, and so we touch on mental health too, which is a very critical subject in Jamaica. We are showing that somebody do not hold it in. You need somebody to talk to.
Absolutely. And you know, it's funny that you would say that, because most persons who would have died from AIDS or would have died having been infected with AIDS, it is not actually the HIV AIDS that kill them. They usually die from what we consider to be opportunistic diseases. And so if we do not treat them well, if we do not let them know that, listen, HIV AIDS is not a death sentence. It is not. Persons can live years, 15, 20, 25 years. They can live very normal lives even after contracting HIV AIDS.
However, if they are being stigmatized and do not get that family and friend support, they can kill themselves.
They will.
And the film is also showing you that it does not only affect the victim, it affects the victim's family.
Exactly. As in the case of the child that you said you experienced. This is not a part of his story, you know, guys. This is not a part of the film. This is what he experienced. This is what Roger experienced when he was in Jamaica. When was it? Last year?
Christmas.
Or
Christmas.
Last Christmas. A child. And it could be that the mother doesn't even have AIDS.
Exactly.
But they just say, you know, because of how they look. Mark your people. There's nobody walking around with HIV AIDS or AIDS stamping their forehead. So you can't look at a person and know that they have HIV AIDS. So this person may be suffering from an illness. And you know, because of the stigma associated with HIV AIDS, Roger, persons are afraid to go and get tested.
You know, you said something that you cannot look. When I was in Jamaica, Ports where I'm from, July, because we uploaded the video the 9th of July, and we were doing some promotion, and I gave a lady a flyer, and she said, "Oh, you played a role, you have the AIDS? Okay, you're on the flyer. Let me see who else on the flyer have it." I said, you cannot look on somebody and know that they have AIDS.
Are you serious?
Yes. So the education.
Oh my word! Wow. so the assumption then, you see how our society, our Jamaican society, we, you know, and the Bible says that, you know, people perish because they don't have vision because of ignorance. Our Jamaican society is really ignorant because so is it that you're going to look at the film and say, oh, all of those persons, or the person that is actually doing the acting, the person has AIDS? It's a really sad place.
I have a lot of people ask me, do you have AIDS for true? You have AIDS?
Oh my word. You're kidding me. Oh my word.
One of the best feedback I got was a lady who sent something to my Roger O. Williams author page. And after she watched the film, she said, yes, because this is what I went through. Because when I was in class, back in high school, I had a skin condition and everybody said I had AIDS. And it was just, you know, a skin condition. So the public needs to be educated. And let me ask a question, and to the viewers out there. If the Jamaican government and those people who in power to make a difference, especially the Minister of Health and Welfare, if they care about the people so much, why don't they come forward and even acknowledge the film?
Yes, and you know, that's a good question to ask, and we're really looking forward to that acknowledgement coming soon. We're looking forward to it. We are certainly looking forward to it. Simone, please go ahead and make sure that you share it on your platforms, share it on your different pages, tag a friend right now, because you know this is a conversation that we really need to be having. Did you know, guys, that in recent times, statistics have shown that there is an increase in STIs like gonorrhea and all of those. And if there's an increase in those, the potential lies that there is an increase in also HIV. Now, it is shown that there are over 27,000 people that's infected in Jamaica. And I recently had a conversation with my students at the college, and they were like, Miss, they are saying that that's the number here, but there are so many people that's infected and they have not gone to be tested. And there are people also that saying when they are infected, they are going to infect as many people that they can. So that is also another problem that we're faced with dealing with HIV/AIDS. So some people, they use it as punishment for other people.
Yes,
So they go and there's a lot of misconceptions or, you know, myths associated with HIV/AIDS, all because we're not seeking to educate. And this film, certainly, this film is definitely an educational film. Go ahead, Mr.
The group in Porus, they want to continue because you touch on some very topics, because HIV/AIDS is such a broad topic.
Yes, absolutely.
And we could cover everything in the film, so they want to move on. So what these people who claim that they care for the people, why they don't come forward and say, okay, what else are you going to do? Like the SDC, the Social Development Commission, what we have done is social development, social issues. So they claim that they endorse it, but you can't tell me that you endorse something. You have to show the public that you endorse it and spend the funds and help these people.
Yes.
Because it's not just about me, it's about them.
Yes.
They want to showcase their talent. They want to use their talent to make a difference in life. We have a high murder rate in Jamaica. A lot of that murder rate is contributed to mental health. People are snapping. Do not know how to deal. They're holding stuff in and they explode like a pressure cooker. The film is telling you that you need to, if you don't see a friend, ask for it.
Ask for it.
If you see someone silent, find out what. Talk to me. That is what it's showing.
Yes.
And the government of Jamaica, especially the Ministry of Health, and their stuff ignoring the film. You know, a lot of people thought I am monetizing the film. I said, no, I spend over $6,000 and I'm not getting back any cent. I put it up there free.
Wow.
To educate the people.
I think you should probably try and make some contacts with WHO, maybe CDC, UNICEF, and so on. They should be able to bring some awareness. If you can contact those offices, there are different sites in Jamaica and different Caribbean islands, you should be able to get it out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'll link Trinidad, Barbados, and stuff like that. We haven't heard back from them. I'll link PEPFAR. And let me tell you something. We live in a world where it's not about what has been done,
right?
Who do it.
Yes.
And out of that comes the manifestation of hypocrisy and nepotism. And this is why I write what I write, because I'm a victim right now of classism and favoritism.
Wow. It happens.
For me to carry on and push on, I have to have strong determination.
Yes. And you have to keep it that way. You have to keep going.
Because the discouragement is from left, right, front, and center.
Yes.
Because you're going to get discouragement from even people who you think who are there for you.
Right.
But nothing can stop you when you have a common goal.
Absolutely. And you have to stand in your purpose no matter what.
Yes.
You have to tell yourself that you're not going to give up. You're going to keep fighting. You're going to keep pushing through. And I can tell you this much, Roger, that the work that you put into this, into all of these things that you're doing, you're writing and creating your films or producing your films, I am sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that one day you will see the results.
Of course.
You will see the results and everything will come to fruition, because no good work goes without results and reward. I can tell you that. No good work goes without results and reward.
I won't say I'm in a class by myself, because I don't want to put down other writers, but I'm different because I'm addressing topics that nobody really wanted.
Absolutely. Yes.
The example is not everybody from a Caribbean island would brave enough to address animal cruelty.
Right.
It's a tough topic, and you know once you write animal cruelty, your government is not going to be fond of you.
Yes.
Because probably the reason why they're not really want to come and endorse the film is because of who write it.
Yes.
Who wrote the screenplay? It's me, and they're still carrying that grievance from the Animal Book and Murder for Sale. You know, my mom has a shop in Jamaica, and when I was there in July, a gentleman came to the shop to buy something, and him said, them call me Coolie. He said, Roger, come here. Him said, this is, I'm quoting him say, it's not the Animal Book or the Jamaican government not like you, it's Murder for Sale.
Wow.
That is just somebody outside interpreting the treatment, I said, why? He said that book is dangerous. He said that book is showing up so many things. So they see me as a dangerous writer.
Yes. And I think that you should continue to be that voice.
Yes.
Continue to be that voice. And, you mentioned earlier, Mr. Williams, about the book not just looking at the tabooed topic of HIV/AIDS and the stigmatization associated with it, but also that of mental health. And coming from a man, and only recently we saw where an outstanding man in society, and most people would have known about him, DJ Twitch, Stephen's boss, he committed suicide. And this is a topic that is also tabooed, especially when it comes on to men. And we think that men are supposed to be strong. They are not supposed to show their emotions. They are not supposed to have any problems or any issues. Whatever they're dealing with, they should man it up and tough it up and deal with it, because you're a man. How dare you, as a man, shows that you are weak or you're emotional, or you must be masculine and you should always be macho. What's the message that you have for men, the men that may be listening now, regarding their mental health and making sure that they take care of themselves?
Talk. Don't keep it in. Talk.
Wow.
Find a friend. And what the film is also showing you is find somebody who can listen.
Yes.
Listening is a very important emotional help to someone. Find someone who can listen.
Yes.
Don't afraid to don't feel vulnerable. Talk it out. Talk what's bothering you.
Yes.
Just talk, find that person. And what the film is also showing you, sometime when you're down,
yes,
you know who is your true friend.
Ooh, wow. Absolutely. I agree with you on that.
Sometimes even a stranger can be there for you to listen to. Because one of the greatest listeners is a stranger. Go out there and talk.
Yes.
And a person might say, oh man, I know you so long and I didn't know you were going through that stuff. Or if the stranger will say, my brother, you're really going through some stuff, and that stranger can even give some good advice. So the first step is to talk.
Talk
it. And don't feel vulnerable.
Yes.
You're not feminine if you cry. Shoulder. Don't afraid if you talk to if you love if your partner. Don't feel you talk to your partner. Don't feel like if you're gonna be seen as the weak one in the relationship because your partner is supposed to be there for you and to listen.
Yes.
And if you're single, talk to your mom. If your mom alive, talk to your mom. The relationship, talk to somebody who you think.
Yes.
And if push come to shove, talk to a stranger. It's not weakness to show emotion as men. It's not weak. Get it out, because when we hold it back, when the pressure cooker lid burst, we know what happens when the pressure cooker. The entire kitchen messed up. The fridge destroyed.
Pressure bust pipe.
Exactly. You don't want that. And a lot of killing going on in Jamaica is because people hold stuff, and there's nothing put in place to deal with issues like this. How many people in Jamaica can afford a psychiatrist?
Wow.
Let's show them love. Show you that.
Yes.
The guy's own friend have to act like a psychiatrist. Watch the film to show you that all you need is to talk. That is a powerful message of the film. It's
Wow.
very relevant. It's trending. And it will always be there because the problem,
Yes.
the bigger heads don't address it. The problem always going to be there.
Yes.
So using the magnitude that I took on with this project,
Yes.
limited resources and without no help from people who are supposed to be there to help us. No MP, no councillor of the area,
Right.
no SSE, no AIDS organization, no Ministry of Health. I'm not going to say I did it alone because it's a film work and it's a teamwork. And I couldn't have done it with my actors.
Absolutely.
I couldn't have done it without my co-director because I co-directed. I call Mr. Nete. I couldn't have done it without him. I couldn't have done it without the community. So it's a teamwork, and the only person who were missing was the influential person who was there to help us.
Yes, yes.
How shameful and disgraceful is that? Well, you know what? We have perseverance and we push on.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to some really positive feedback coming from even this interview session, Roger, and more persons will really become aware of the film and the work that you have been doing. And you really keep mentioning the figures of authority and the different institution, Ministry of Health, and the different HIV/AIDS organizations and so on. And how do you think, or how would you want for them to utilize this film in Jamaica?
All right. Before I answer that, I see somebody said where they can watch it. They can watch it on YouTube. Just go to
YouTube. And I just shared the link in the chat. That's the link right there, guys. You can see it on screen. I've also shared it in the chat, so you can definitely go ahead, click on those links, and you can watch the film there.
Okay. So I emailed Jazzle, the Jamaica Aid for Sport for Life, Jazzle they called, and I told him, I said, I didn't hear from you guys, but here's the film. They said they watch it, they like it. I said, utilize it. Put it on your website, show it in the meetings. I've even told the SDC, the Social Development Commission, to utilize it. Put it on their site or in public meetings. I spend the money, not making back any money. Wow. All you have to do is utilize the film and educate people. But some people do not want to acknowledge it because they weren't part of it. You see the corruption in Jamaica because they are not glory.
It's like that with people. I think it's just people in general. When it's not them at the helm, they tend not to give the support that it deserves. Yes.
A teacher told me, I was telling a teacher the situation because what I'm going through with the film, I talk. I just told people to talk. If I'm going to I don't know why people are not supporting it, why I talk. And a teacher said, you know what, Roger, we're going through that in this classroom too. Because the bigger heads, if they don't initiate something, they break it down.
Wow.
We see it in politics. If somebody comes with something in the politics and next time come in, vote out, they mash it down.
Yes.
How can a society develop and be better if the bigger heads are like that? And what I love about this film, Let's Show Them Love, it is showing up a lot of people. Showing up who are the people who are in power to help us, who they are. It is showing them up. Why won't you come and endorse this film and congratulate the people? These people could have came together, and made a film about gun and drugs and so on, to make a positive film in their to educate other people in the Jamaican community to do the same thing. Right.
And you really have to keep going. You have to keep pushing. And you know what? This is what I always say, because similarly, a number of people, would have done, different types of projects, whether it's to in music or whatever it may be. And I always tell people, we have these platforms now, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Continue to utilize them. Let me tell you something. If one person likes it, I can tell you that in another couple months, you'll have over 100 until they start having thousands of people. So, keep pushing it, keep sharing on your platform. And I can tell you this much, whatever support I can give you to, to really get the word out there,
Yeah.
I will definitely give you that support to get the word out there. So let me just send another shout out to some persons who joined in. Hey, Linda Bandu, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Rosemary Johnson, thank you, Johnson. Yeah, I got that right. Katie, everything. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, Simone, you're keeping the chat active, honey. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're just joining us, we are talking with Roger O. Williams. He is an author. He's a Jamaican. So all the Jamaicans in the house, big up on yourself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, if you are from Manchester, that is where Mr. Williams said that he's from, then you want to also send a special shout out if you are from Manchester, or, you know, if you're neighboring like me from Clarendon, if you're a Manchester neighbor, then of course you can also send a shout out also. But go ahead, guys, click on the share button. We're having this conversation here. We're talking about topics that considered to be tabooed in Jamaica. We're talking about HIV/AIDS. We're talking about animal cruelty. We're talking about love, religion. Those are the things that we're talking about this evening. And of course, we have, as I said, Roger O. Williams, Jamaican. He's an author, he's an actor, and of course, he's an animal rights activist. All of his books are available on Amazon. And I'm going to be sharing the link for Amazon in a bit. I want for you to go, guys, and make sure that you purchase his books. And if you can't get the hard copy, it's Christmas now. Those books would make beautiful Christmas gifts. You will get them within a couple of days if you're living in the States or Canada or so on. So make sure, guys, that you purchase a copy of the book, or get all four books, man, and just put together a nice little package, whether it's for your children and the animals. There will be animals in heaven. That's the name of the book.
Only animals allowed in heaven.
Animals allowed in heaven. That's a book that I will be having my son reading. So I got my copy already. So he's going to be reading that book. Of course, I got the Kindle version. So welcome, welcome. So we see Rosemary saying that she is from Manchester. So you have your Manchester neighbor over there. Rosemary, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, you know, we've been talking, Mr. Williams, and of course, you know, we have been talking about a lot of things. We talk about mental health, right? And of course, he sent a message to the men to talk. Men, we can't overemphasize it. I know that some of you will say, but I don't like to talk, right? Talking is not my favorite pastime. But listen, if you're finding it difficult to talk with those around you, find somebody to talk to, right? I had a friend and he would never talk. And I remember a person would say to me that, you know, this is most I see him talking when I would put things on my post about him. And let me tell you something, guys, talking is so important that you talk. So we've addressed the issue of mental health, Roger. Let's see what we're moving on to now. I think I asked this question before, right? I think I did. I asked you this question before, but I want for you, you know, to talk a little bit more about it, because we're going to be wrapping up soon. If there is a young writer or a young person out there that's aspiring to become an author, just like yourself, and maybe to do work in production of film, and now people have phones, they can do anything. And I think you were saying to me just this week, you know, how you just use your phone to capture a video and so on. Yeah, and I think a lot of persons are doing that now. And, you know, with social media being so widely used, you know, clearly everybody wants to gain that traction. What message do you have to young writers or authors, you know, about how they can generate ideas for writing their books or writing their short films?
Well, each authors have a different way of how they come up, you know, with a story. Me, it's just life. Another person can be just their personal experience, or they can just sit down and say, you know what am I going to write today? I can do that. I can just say what I'm going to write today. Sometimes I even think it's God who gave me my ideas, you know. But to not go that divine route, before you become an author, you have to realize that one of the key ingredient of becoming a writer is dedication. Some people want to be a writer and them still want to party. That doesn't work. You have to give up something to achieve something. So if you have an idea for a story, whether it's a book or a screenplay, you have to give time to develop that story. You have to sacrifice party. You have to, you can't go to your friends and stuff like that. You have to have like a timetable. You're going to get up and write tomorrow morning, and then you're going to do this. And then in the evening, depends on your schedule. But my point is you have to have dedication, and you have to understand the reason why you are writing. If you're writing to be on the best-selling list, no problem. If you're writing to make a difference, no problem. You have to decide why you want to write. That is it. You have to find out why you want to write. Why you want to write this specific theme. Why do you want to make a specific film? So while I can tell you the best way how to come up with a story, because every human being is different and we get inspiration from different aspects in our life, I can say just make sure you're dedicated to the project for what you're doing. And writing doesn't really go with alcohol and drinking and smoking and right today and tomorrow morning you're coming a hangover. You have to have dedication. It's the perfect, best advice I can give for an aspiring writer. Dedication.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Roger. So dedication, purpose, knowing your why. You have to be committed. You have to work with a schedule. You can't just be going out there and partying and doing whatever you want to do. You have to make sure you get yourself in that place where you can get the inspiration for your writing. So we have been talking, guys, to Roger O. Williams. He's an emerging author from Jamaica, as we said. And of course, he's one that is considered to be a radical writer. And he's been writing about social issues. Of course, many animal lovers also see him as a hero for animals. So I want for you to celebrate Mr. Roger this evening, or Mr. Williams, because he's been breaking and he's been making history because he's considered to be the first and maybe the only writer coming out of the Caribbean who's been writing and bringing light to animal cruelty, particularly in Jamaica. He shared with us the story of his pet pig, Sunday, that they murdered. And of course, if you remember, he said he bought the pig on a Sunday. And so, of course, animal cruelty of awareness is very personal to him. Of course, due to the sensitive and controversial nature of animal cruelty, many people have seen him as, one of Jamaica's bravest author, because he took on the topic single-handedly without fear of repercussion. And he didn't only take on that project single-handedly, but his project, his short film,
Let's Show Them Love.
Let's Show Them Love. And he did that. That was a project that he invested in. And I want for you to tag, okay, I think we just lost a bit of connection there. I want for somebody to tag Dr. Christopher Tufton. He is the Ministry of Health, and I believe that he's been doing a great job, particularly during the COVID pandemic, right? And, a lot of awareness was brought to COVID-19, and similarly, HIV/AIDS is transmitted by a virus. It's still very much active, and we want to bring more awareness to HIV/AIDS and removing the stigma, the taboo that's associated with it. And we want for that film to be taken across the length and breadth of Jamaica, across the world. We want for the Caribbean islands, we want UNICEF, WHO, and the different health organizations to be using this film to bring awareness and to break down the barrier, this discrimination, the stigmatization that is associated with HIV/AIDS. Of course, we know that a lot of persons who would have been affected, they also suffer from mental health issues, and this film also seek to bring awareness to mental health issues and the importance of making sure that we maintain the family relationships and the community bond, and of course taking care of those individuals in their state of being vulnerable. We do not want to leave them by the wayside. We want to make sure that those vulnerable individuals in our society and the children, because as you indicated, Roger, it's not only the person that is sick that is impacted, but the family inadvertently is also impacted by these conditions. So it's been a pleasure talking with you, Roger. And, it's really been an interesting discussion this evening. And I want for you at this point to just share with us any final words that you have for our audience.
I just want to, I've totally forgot to thank the people who submit their music for free. Because when we were doing the film, we reached out to a lot of top dancehall artists and their managers and stuff, and them just have your own circle. And because a film cannot be done without music, so we thank all the D-Meds, Quality Rural, and all these artists who really believe in the film and said, use our songs for free. So we have to give thanks to those people who let us use their music. And I just want who's watching this, especially if they're aspiring writers or youth, to stay focused. It is important to stay focused in anything that you are doing in life, and no matter what people discourage you, just keep pushing on, pushing on, because anything that was ordained by God will get fired by the devil.
Yes,
if you're doing something and it's coming too easy,
you
have to struggle.
Yes.
So just keep. Sometimes the fight that you get make you stronger instead of making you weaker. Just keep on pushing. That's what I want. That's what I want to tell people. And thank you so much for tuning in. And you support the book if you can. If you cannot book, it's not about book sales for me. It's about just raising the awareness and let people. Like for example, my animal book. It's not about my animal book. It's to let people know that stop hurt animals. So just spreading the word is a support for me. Of course, if you can get to read the book, read it. But thank you so much for even listening, for even tuning in and listening to this author who is just rising.
All right. So he calls himself an emerging author, but I believe that he is an established author. And that's what we're going to be using going forward. He's an established author. Books written, Only Animals Allowed in Heaven, Turn That Blow, Love Will Survive, Murder for Sale, and of course his short film, Let's Show Them Love. You can find these books on Amazon. You can find the film on YouTube. So please go ahead, guys. I have shared the different links for Roger's Facebook and YouTube. Go over there. He's also on TikTok, guys. So the young people, you could go follow him on TikTok also. So YouTube, Facebook, just type in Roger O. Williams, author, and you will find him there. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Roger. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. As I said, it's been, quite a passionate and interesting conversation that we've had this evening. And, to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining in. And, for those persons who shared, thank you so much for sharing the link. Thank you for your comments. Definitely appreciate all of that. So with that being said, just want to wish for you all the best. Have a great evening. And I want to take you out, with the clip once again from Let's Show Them Love.
Thank you.
True, Miss Doris talking. She sell food and Miss Super is right there. We can't have a person with HIV around here.
True. Relax, Sophie. The eye them cannot catch HIV by touching what Billy touched. The eye them cannot get infected that way. Whether it is HIV or full-blown AIDS him have.
Hold on, Dingy.
How you mean we can't catch it by touching where him touch? Suppose we allow him to play domino with we. You want to tell me that we can't catch the HIV virus by touching the domino them when touch?
Good question, Nala.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you all. And please remember to make sure that you go and support Roger O. Williams. Get his books. Purchase a book. Share. Tag a friend. Be blessed. Have a great evening. Looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning when I will join you once again for a workout live and talk session. God bless you all. Have a good one.